So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be going over the AQA GCSE Maths Foundation June 2020 paper 1, which is non-calculator. So let's get started on this paper. So looking at question 1, it says here are some numbers and we need to circle the range. Now the range is calculated by doing the highest, take away the lowest. So the highest number is 17 and the lowest number is 5, so it's 17, take away 5, which is 12. It then says circle the value of the digit which represents a 5. So again, if I just change all the other numbers to a 0, that then represents 50,000, and so that's our fourth option. Then question 3 says work out -2 minus 5, and that's going to be -7. Looking at question 4, it says what is 680 millimeters in centimeters? Well, all I need to do for that is simply divide by 10. In other words, move the decimal point one place in, so that becomes 68 centimeters. With question 5, it says work out the area of shape A to the ratio to the area of shape B. And we need to write this as a ratio in its simplest form. So working out the area of A, well, just counting the number of squares, I notice that I've got 5 times 4, which is 20. And then looking at the area of B, that's going to add up to 12. And so looking at that, so 20 to 12, and we just divide both numbers by 4, so I get 5 to 3, and that is my ratio, 5 to 3. Looking at question 6a, it says Samir and Dan run a race. Samir finishes in 2.5 minutes and Dan finishes in 130 seconds. Complete the following sentence. We need to say who wins and by how many seconds. Now what we need to do first is convert it so that they're both in seconds. So 2.5 minutes is 60 plus 30, which is 150 seconds. So then it's going to be Dan wins by, and it's going to be 20 seconds. Then for B, it says Alice does a sponsored walk. She starts from home on Monday at 8 a.m. and she arrives back home in 55 hours later. Work out how she arrives home back home. Now looking at this, 55 hours. Now what we want to do is split this up into days. So we've got 24 plus 24, which is 48, plus 7 hours. So this then becomes Tuesday. That becomes Wednesday. So it's going to be Wednesday. And then what I need to do is add 7 hours to 8 a.m. So that's going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So it's going to be at 3 p.m. or 1500 if you want to work in a 24-hour clock. Looking at question 7, it says work out this calculation. So again, working out what 43 times 8 is going to be. So again, we've got 24. Then 32, so that's 344, and then 6 over 2, 3, 4. So we then get 3, remainder 5, and then we're going to get 9. So it's 39, so we want to do 100, 330, 344, take away 39, and then doing the sort of subtraction, we get 14 take away 9, which is 5, 0, so it's 305. Moving on to question 8, it says here is some information by ticket type about the number of people who visit a cinema in 1 week. And it says one of these 4 squares represents 40 people. It says how many children visited the cinema. Well, in terms of the children, we've got 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40, which all adds up to give me 160. In question B, it says how many more students than adults visited the cinema. So what we need to do is actually work out what these totals are. So this is going to be for adults, it's going to be 40 plus 40 plus 40 plus 20, which is 140. And then students, well, that's going to be 40 times 6, which is 240. And then all we then need to do is take away those two numbers. So we've got 240 minus 140, which gives us an answer of 100. Moving on to question 8c, it says the bar chart is drawn to show the number of people visiting the cinema in 1 month. And here's the bar chart. It says give one criticism for the bar chart. And the one criticism is, as you can see in terms of the vertical scale, is that we're missing, it's going up in 500s until it gets there. So in other words, we've gone incorrect vertical scale. Or something along those lines. You could say that 2,500 is missing. It doesn't go up by 500s along the y-axis, so something along those lines would be absolutely fine for the 1 mark. So looking at question 9, it says that Harry will pay income tax if he earns more than 12,500 in a year. After 8 months he has earned a total of 7,600, and for the rest of the year he earns £1,200 each month. Will he pay income tax? So what we need to do is work out how much he gets paid for those 4 months. So we've got 4 times 1,200, which is 4,800. I then need to add that to 7,600. And so if I do that calculation, I get 11, 12. And so how much money is he earning? 12,400. So the question is no, Harry will not pay any income tax, as he's £100 below the bracket. Question 10 says x is a 2-digit number. How many digits does the number 10x have? Well, if you're going to multiply a 2-digit number by 10, then all you're doing is adding one extra digit. So the answer then is going to be 3. Question 11, it says circle the answer to 50 times 0.2. So 50 times 0.2 is going to be, well, 50 times 2 is 100, but then you need to move the decimal point 1 place. I don't know what I'm doing there. So moving it 1 place, giving us an answer of 10. Then for B, it says work out 3.65 divided by 5 and give your answer as a decimal. So again, I'm going to have 5, and here I'm writing 3.65. And then we just do the calculation. So this is going to be 7, and that's going to be 3. So the answer then is 0.73. For question 12, it says a Venn diagram shows the information about 50 people who are in bands, and it says how many people are guitar players. So for guitar players, what we need to do is add the numbers that are in the guitar circle. So that's 8 plus 21, which is 29. It then says how many people are singers but not guitar players. Well, singers and not guitar players is going to be this number here. So the answer to that one is going to be 4. Then the question says one person is chosen at random. Write down the probability that person is not a singer and not a guitar player. So we want people that aren't neither. So it's going to be 17. So the answer is going to be 17. And how many were there in total? 50. So it's going to be 17 over 50. Now with question 13, it says here is a parallelogram, and we need to translate the parallelogram 4 squares to the left and 3 squares up. So again, if we just start by picking 1 point, so let's go for this one. So 4 squares to the left and then 3 squares up means it's going to be there. And then obviously if I then repeat the process with all the other points and then join those points up, and again I should be using a ruler, so let's just quickly draw this neatly, and should get something that looks like this. Now in terms of the marks for this particular question, you would get marks if your shape was at least in the same positions both vertically, and then a couple of marks for it being the same horizontally. And I'm just going to cheat now. So that's where it should be. Next question, so question 14a, it says solve the equation. So again, what I'll do is take the 11 over to the side by adding. So I've got 6x equals 24, and then divide by 6, give me an answer of 4. Now with question 14b, it says simplify fully. So what you want to do is just simplify each of these components. So simplifying this gives me 8a plus 9, and then simplifying this, well, 15 divided by 3 is 5, so it's going to be 5a take away 7. Now if I join the a's together, that's going to give me 13a, and 9 take away 7 is positive 2. Then moving on to question 15, it says a pyramid has a square base. Each of the 4 slopes edges has a length of 10 centimeters. The total length of all 8 edges is 68. Work out the area of the square base. So if I add up all of these, so that's 10, and this one here is also going to be 10. Now I don't know what the base is, so let's just call that x. Now, if I add up all of those 8 measurements together, what have I got? Well, I've got 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus x plus x plus x plus x, and that all adds up to 68. Now, combining these, I get 40. Combining these, I get 4x equals 68. So this then becomes like a solving equations question. So take away the 40, I'm left with 4x equals 28. Divide by 4, and I get x equals 7. So these lengths here are 7 centimeters. Now, I've not finished the question because the question is asking me to work out the area. Well, to work out the area of a square base, it's just going to be the length times the length, which is 7 times 7, which is 49. So all I need to do here is write 49. Moving on to question 16, it says the table shows information about 150 students and how they travel to school. And there's information. It says what fraction of girls walk to school. So what fraction of girls walk to school? So we're just looking at the girls column, so it's out of 72. And how many girls walk? Well, it's going to be 22. And then I want to give my answer in its simplest form, so it's going to be 11 over, and then it's going to be 36. So the answer then is 11 over 36. For question 16b, it says one of the boys is chosen at random. What is the probability that the boy travels by bus? So again, looking at the boys, so it's out of 78. And how many of them will take the bus? Well, that's going to be 41. 41's a prime number, so the answer then is just going to be 41 over 78. And then question 16 says what percentage of the 150 students travel to school by car? Well, in terms of car, if we add the two numbers up, that's going to give me 30. So I've got 30 out of 150. So 30 over 150. Now, if we convert that into a fraction, so we've got 3 over 15, which then becomes 1 over 5. Now, 1 over 5 as a decimal is 0.2, and 0.2 as a percentage is 20%. Moving on to question 17, it says that a straight line passes O at and 2, 6, and the question is asking us to work out the equation of the line. So, in terms of this, we know it's 2 and we know it's 6. So what do you have to do to 2 to get to 6 is multiply by 3. So then we're looking for the correct equation, which is y equals 3x, which is the third option. Looking at question 18a, it says work out 110% of 80. Well, 10% equals 8. So then 110% is going to be 80 plus 8, which is 88. Then for B, it says work out 21 as a fraction of 12. Well, 21 over 12. Now, if we simplify the fraction, that then becomes 7 over 4, and which is our first option. For question 19, it says bags Y, X and Y each contain counters. Bag X has 30 counters, each counter is green, white or yellow. And bag Y has 5 counters, 3 are red, 3 are green and 2 are red. And the question is saying that the probability of getting a green counter from X is the same as a red counter from Y. Work out the number of green counters in X. So first of all, let's have a look at what the green counters is. We don't know what that is yet. So let's have a look at, well, we know it's going to be something over 30. Now, in terms of bag Y, we know that the probability of getting a red counter is going to be 2 over 5. So then if you think about equivalent fractions, what I want to do is do this. So I need to multiply, how many 5s go into 30? Well, I need to multiply that by 6. So if I do the same to the top, that then gives me 12. So work out the number of green counters, well then that's going to be 12. Then it says that all 35 counters are put into one bag. One counter is picked at random. What is the probability that is not red? So in terms of not being red, well, there's no red counters in X. So in total, we've got 35 counters. So total equals 35. And the total non-red is going to be 35 take away 2, which is 33. So then the probability then is going to be 33 over 35. Question 20, it says A and B are scatter diagrams. What type of correlation is shown by each graph? Well, graph A shows a very strong negative, correlation, and B shows no correlation. Moving on to question 21, it says all of the terms of a geometric progression are positive. The second and fourth terms are shown. Work out the first and the third term. Now with a geometric progression, basically to go from one term to another, you need to multiply by the common number, which in this case we're just going to call times r. Now here in terms of this, now if we look at two r's, and r times r is r squared, then we do that by doing 16 divided by 4. So r squared equals 4, so r equals 2. So basically what it means is the numbers are doubling. So that's going to be 8 and that's going to be 2. So your first term is 2 and your third term is going to be 8. Now it says in the first two terms of an arithmetic progression are shown. Now with this you're adding, so what do you have to add to p to get 5p? Well, I need to add 4p, which therefore means that the third term is going to be 4p plus 5p, which is 9p. It then says the sum of the first three terms is 90, so I've got p plus 5p plus 9p equals 90, and so adding all these up I get 15p equals 90, divide by 15, which gives me 6. Then moving on to question 22, it says this formula converts temperature in degrees Fahrenheit to Kelvin. A pottery oven is heated to 2192 degrees Fahrenheit. Work out the temperature in Kelvin. So all we need to do is swap F equals 2192 into this formula. So what we've got is we've got 5/9, and then we've got 2192 minus 32 plus 273. So working out this first bit here, I've just got to do 2192 minus 32, which gives me 2160. So 2160. Now the next thing I then need to do is work out what 5/9 of 2160 is going to be. So first, if I divide 2196 by 9, then I get 0 and then 2, 3, 4, 0. So that's 240. Then I do 240 times 5. So 240 times 5 is going to give me 0, 20, and 1200. So all of this equals 1200 plus 273 is going to give me an answer of 147. Then for question 23, it says as a decimal 11 over 40 is 0.275. Work out what 33 over 400 is going to be. So what I need to do here is think to myself, well, what do we need to multiply 11 over 40 to get 33 over 400? Well, I need to multiply 11 by 3 to get 33 and multiply 40 by 10. So what I need to do then in this fraction here, and this number here is 0.275, this number here is 0.3. So if I multiply those two numbers together, then what I'm going to get is, well, another alternative is you can divide by 10 and times by 3. So that's one option, or you can just simply work it out, and that's exactly what we'll do now. So we've got 15, 21 plus 1 is 22, and then we get 8, so we get 825. And then I've moved that one place there, 3 places there, so moving it 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then it becomes 0.0825. Moving on to question 24, it says that the cost of a holiday is 2,400. Rana pays a deposit followed by monthly payments in the ratio of 3:5. She makes 6 equal monthly payments. Work out the monthly payments. So first thing we want to do is share 2,400 in the ratio of 3:5, which is 8. So we've got 2,400 divided by 8, which is 300. So then looking at 3:5, times that by 300, times that by 300, and we get 900 as a deposit. And the monthly payments are going to add up to 1,500. So what we then want to do is do 1,500 divided by 6. So again, what I'm going to do is get my bus stop open, and then that becomes 2, and then 50. So monthly payments are going to be £250. Then looking at question 25, says factorise fully 2x squared plus 6x. Well, again, factorise, taking the common factor, that's going to be 2x. And I've just got x plus 3. So my final answer is 2x and then x plus 3. And then looking at question 26, it says two wire shapes make an earring. The shapes are a circle with a radius of 21 millimeters and a quarter circle. And it says the radius of the circle is to the ratio of the quarter circle is 7 to 2. Show that the radius of the quarter circle is 6. So looking at this then, we've got that the ratio of the big circle, BC, and the quarter circle. So we've got 7 to 2. The radius of the big circle is 21. So then I need to multiply that by 3. So multiply this by 3. And that gives me 6. And that's when I've got to show. Now looking at B, it says work out the total length of the Y in the earring. Give your answer in the form of something times pi plus B. So if I just go back to this, and let me just write down, we've got, write down space for this. We've got 7 to 2 is 21 to 6, and then so answer. So let me just get rid of all of this. So let's have a look at what we've got. So we want to work out all of this Y. Now we know that this here is 21. And we know that this length here is 6. So in terms of the circumference for this, that's going to be 2 times 21 times pi. So that's using the formula of 2 pi r. So that then becomes 42 pi. So that's what that bit there is. Then looking at the quarter circle, so let's just use a different colour. So for the quarter circle, well, that's going to be using the formula of 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the circle, divided by 4, because it's a quarter, and then I need to add 6, add 6. So here the radius is 6, so I've got 12 pi over 4 plus 12, and that gives me an answer of 3 pi plus 12. Now all I then need to do is add these two numbers together, so that my final answer is going to be 45 pi plus 12, and that's in millimeters. So then that here is going to be 45 pi plus 12. Then looking at question 27, it says use trigonometry to work out the sides of angle X. So for this, we've got to do, we'll label the triangle first. So I've got A and H. So then I'm using cos. So I've got cos X equals 9 over 18. Now 9 over 18 is 0.5, so I've got cos x equals 0.5. And then if you remember your exact values of trig, what value of cos x gives you 0.5? Well, then that's going to be 60. Then moving on to question 28, it says rearrange the formula to make D the subject. So again here I want to get rid of the 3 first, so then that then becomes, well, let me just do the question here. So I take the 3 over by multiplying by 3, so I get 3c equals d plus 2, and then take the 2 over, so the answer then is going to be d equals 3c take away 2. For question 29a, it says write the following in standard form, and that's going to be 3.6 times 10 to the power of 5. And then write down 9.2 times 10 to the power 3 as an ordinary number. So that's going to be 0.0092. And there we've come to the end of the paper. Now we'll put the grade boundaries in the description below so you can see once you've marked your paper what grade you've scored on this individual paper.